Hi, this is James from IELTS United, and today we're talking about how to write an introduction for IELTS Writing Task 2. Don't forget, you can find more resources from us on Facebook, Instagram, and Telegram. So, let's get started. First, let's look at our question. Schools are spending more time teaching traditional subjects such as history. Some people think they should rather spend more time in teaching skills that can help students find a job. To what extent do you agree or disagree? First, let's look at the statements. IELTS have told us that we're talking about teaching traditional subjects and teaching skills that can help students to find a job. And by traditional subjects, they give us an example, like history, and in teaching skills that can help students find a job, we're thinking about practical skills, workplace skills. What other important words are there here? Well, we see the word rather. What does rather mean? It means which is better. You have a choice to make, and with rather, you're choosing one and not the other. We also have a question at the end of the two statements. To what extent do you agree or disagree? We know we're giving an opinion because we see agree or disagree, but these words, to what extent, are also important. They tell us that it's not 100% agree, it's not 100% disagree, it's look at the statements and decide how much do you agree or disagree. Which parts do you agree with? Which parts do you disagree with? Which do you think are correct and which are not correct? So what do you have to do when you're writing the introduction to the IELTS Task 2 essay? Well, you need two things. Firstly, you need a topic sentence. The first sentence, the topic sentence, shows the examiner that you understand what you're talking about. The topic sentence should contain the same information as the statement in the question. This will show the examiner that you know what is being discussed. But it's very important that you don't write the same words as you're given in the statement. So you shouldn't write, schools are spending more time teaching traditional subjects. If you write the same thing as you're given, the examiner will ignore what you've written. They won't read the text if you copy it from the question. Instead, you should paraphrase the statements you are given. Paraphrasing is a technique that means saying the same thing but with different words. And that could mean using synonyms, it could mean restructuring the sentence or changing the grammar, and it could mean using different forms of the words. And we'll give examples, I'll show you how soon. The second thing that you need to write in your introduction is your thesis. Your thesis is your idea. It's your argument or your answer to the question. The topic sentence shows that you've understood the question, and the thesis gives your argument in a simple, basic way. Let's start by looking at the topic sentence. When writing the topic sentence, paraphrasing is the most important technique. So we have to look at our two statements, and we have to write them again, but using different words. So let's start. In the first sentence, they talk about schools. So think of synonyms for school. You might think of similar words as well, like college or university. Obviously, university is different from schools, so I don't want to use that. College is possible, but I will say educational institutions. It's a broader term. It means more than schools, but it does include schools, so I think it fits. Next, Schools are spending more time. Spending more time. Let's change that word spending. We could say giving. They're giving more time. And instead of traditional subjects, we could say classical subjects. The same meaning, but a different word. Now let's look at some people think. Instead of they think, what about they've argued? And remember earlier we looked at the word rather, and I told you rather means one thing is better than another. So let's use that here. Instead of rather spend, let's put it would be better. It would be better. Then in the statement we've got teaching skills, but instead of teaching we could say training, to provide training. That's the same thing as to teach a skill. So it would be better to provide training that can help students find a job. What's another way to say find a job? How about get work? So let's look at my example topic sentence. Educational institutions are giving more time to classical subjects, but some have argued that it would be better to provide training that is useful for getting work. You can see that it has the same meaning as the statements we're given, but in completely different words. Now, you can use some words that are the same. For example, in the statement they say, some people think, and I have said, some have argued. The word some is the same. That's okay. It's okay to use one or two or a few of the same words, but you can't copy the statements. You can't copy the whole sentence or whole phrases. Okay, so this is how to write a topic sentence. But we also need to write a thesis statement. That's your answer to the question. So, the first thing to do is to tell the examiner that you're going to write your opinion, your answer. How do we do that? Well, we use a signposting phrase, a phrase that shows the reader that we're doing something. Phrases like, from my point of view, in my opinion, or from my perspective, show the reader that you're going to give your answer to the question. So I'm going to choose from my perspective. Now, let's look at the question again. Schools are spending more time teaching traditional subjects such as history. Some people think that they should rather spend more time in teaching skills that can help students to find a job. What do I think about this? Well, I'm going to say that I think that skills that help at work are more important than other subjects. But remember, this is a to what extent question. I don't have to completely agree or completely disagree. I can show how much I think is true from these sentences. So I will also say, however, it is important to teach subjects like citizenship and history, as these are important for making students into good citizens. So, you can see that I've used two sentences as well as the signposting phrase. Now you can use one sentence if you prefer. You could connect these two sentences and create one compound sentence, but I think two sentences is fine for me. So, let's look at the answer overall. Educational institutions are giving more time to classical subjects, but some say that it would be better to provide training that is useful for getting work. From my perspective, skills that help at work are more important than other subjects. However, it is important to teach subjects like citizenship and history, as these are important for making students into good citizens. I've written 61 words, which is probably the maximum you really want to write. Remember, you only have 40 minutes, so don't spend too long writing a very long introduction. 60 words is quite a high number. You could write less. You could write, for example, 40 words. Probably not less than 40 words, because it will be difficult for you to make the topic sentence and the thesis statement in less than 40 words, and probably not more than 60 words because you don't have a lot of time. Remember when you're writing your topic sentence that you should paraphrase, so use different words, word forms, and structures. Remember to use signposting so the examiner knows when you're giving your opinion. And here I've used the signpost from my perspective. And remember that if you want to, you can use 1 or 2 sentences when you're giving your perspective. It doesn't matter. And between 40 and 60 words is fine. I want you to do some homework to practice this. First of all, I would like you to find a writing task. If you don't have any writing tasks, you can find some on our Telegram account. Go to t.me/IELTS United. You can find lots of questions and answers there. I want you to come and join our community. We have thousands of students, we have native speakers and teachers, and you can come and join us, and then you can write an introduction for an essay and send it to us so that we can give you feedback. So remember to keep practicing, and good luck with your IELTS exam.